In a development that underscores the continuing economic challenges for households across the UK, Good Morning Britain presenter Fletcher shared breaking news that inflation has risen yet again. During the latest episode of the ITV programme, Sean joined co-hosts Richard Madeley and Kate Garraway to deliver the grim update, marking a key point of concern for millions of viewers. According to figures released by the Office for National Statistics, ONS on Wednesday, December 18, inflation, as measured by the Consumer Prices Index, CPI, rose to 2.6% in the year to November. This is a sharp increase from 2.3% in October, surpassing the Bank of England's target of 2%. The rise marks the second consecutive month inflation has exceeded the target, as noted by GMB correspondent Richard Gaisford. Reporting from a shop in Croydon, he highlighted how rising costs are impacting everyday life, including the doubling of Christmas tree prices over the past year. Motor fuel prices have surged, reflecting global trends. Clothing costs, these increased this year after a decline during the same period last year. ONS chief economist Grant Fitzner explained, inflation rose again this month as prices of motor fuel and clothing increased this year but fell a year ago. Interestingly, the impact of these rising costs was somewhat offset by a significant dip in airfares. In November 2024, airfares dropped by 19.3%, compared to a 13.9% decline during the same month last year. This steep decline was primarily driven by reductions on European routes, a notable shift during the travel-heavy holiday season. Despite the troubling inflation figures, average earnings have outpaced inflation, with businesses passing on higher costs to consumers. As noted by Richard Gaisford, rising national insurance costs for employers have compounded the pressure. However, given the economic environment, it is unlikely that the Bank of England will make changes to interest rates during their upcoming discussion. They're likely to stay exactly where they are, Richard added during his report. Chancellor Rachel Reeves acknowledged the challenges faced by families and reiterated the government's commitment to alleviating the cost of living burden. "I know families are still struggling with the cost of living, and today's figures are a reminder that for too long the economy has not worked for working people," Reeves said. She pointed to real wage growth at its fastest in 3 years as a positive indicator, noting that households now see an extra £20 a week after inflation. However, she emphasized the need for further action, promising that the government's plan for change will deliver better outcomes for working families. The rise in inflation comes at a particularly challenging time, with households bracing for higher expenses during the holiday season. From fuel costs to festive essentials, the effects of inflation are being felt across the board. The Bank of England's upcoming decision on interest rates and continued government efforts to address cost of living challenges will be closely watched as the nation navigates through this economic turbulence. As viewers of Good Morning Britain digest this latest update, the question remains, how will these rising costs affect the daily lives of families, and what steps can be taken to mitigate the impact? For now, the inflationary pressures show no signs of abating, leaving households to grapple with an increasingly difficult financial landscape.